Hello again, this is Doug, the 2-Minute Gardener. Today we're going to talk about how to convert your lawn into a succulent garden. Have you ever gone to a nursery and looked at all these cool succulents and thought, wow, those have some really cool colors and textures, and I bet they're drought tolerant and low maintenance, but you have no idea how to make this look like this, where you have it all laid out and it's really low maintenance and drought tolerant, but still beautiful with colors and textures. Well, we're going to talk about how to convert your old dead thirsty lawn into a low maintenance drought tolerant succulent garden. So let's get going. So first off, of course, you have to actually remove the lawn. So best way to do that is, of course, turn off the water, and then I would recommend renting one of these sod cutters. Now, these can go anywhere from $90 to $150 a week, but they are great for just ripping down about 4 inches, so you can just take that sod out, throw it in your greenery waste, and go. And you do have to really go down quite a ways. Now, depending on the kind of lawn that you have, you might even need to do a little spraying to really get that nutsedge and other nasty things out. So make sure to spend the time to remove that lawn first. After you do that, I recommend you put in some soil amendments. Now, the kind of amendments that you need really depends on the soil you have. But generally, succulents want to have really good draining soil. So you can use some succulent mix or just plain amendments. If you have heavy clay soils, I recommend this soil building conditioner to loosen up that clay and really get the soil draining well. All right, so you've removed the lawn, you've amended the soil. What should you do next? Is it time to plant? No, I would actually really recommend, just to cut down on the weeds and other things coming out, you throw some heavy-duty landscape fabric down. Now, this is an important step because this will really help stop some of that grass from coming right back. Whenever I do a lawn removal, I always recommend putting down the landscape fabric to really help with that stuff. The other thing you can do if you're doing a succulent garden is think about doing a dry stream bed, because that kind of adds some nice focus to the area as well. Okay, so you've laid the fabric down after you've amended the soil. You've even maybe thrown in a dry stream bed. Now it's time to look at the plants. Here we go. 30 of my favorite succulents to use for these kind of succulent gardens. And again, most of these are USDA zones 8 to 12, 8 to 11. There is a list of all these succulents in the video description, and some of these are really small, as we're going to talk about. So first, Octopus Agave. Great big succulent, nice for focal point usage. Now, agaves all throw up big flowers, but the Octopus Agave really throws up a big flower. This guy can get about 15 feet tall, as you can see there, and it takes about a year to bloom. Now, an agave, when it throws up a big flower, is going to die, but it'll have pups at the base to replace the mother plant. Next one on the list is a really wonderful, compact little Aeonium. This is the Kiwi Aeonium. Really kind of neat for some colors. Aloe, coral aloes. I love these. Hummingbirds love these coral aloes. They're really kind of cool little plants with their beautiful orange flowers in the early springtime. A really kind of neat aloe. Aloes are just wonderful plants, and they do bloom every single year. Going back to agaves, again, very low maintenance, slow growing, but beautiful colors and textures. The great ground cover Calendrenia. Boy, I love using this. Probably one of my top 5. Very easy to grow, very reliable. And now let's go back and look at some of those Echeverias. So this one's a Mauna Loa. You can't go wrong with Echeverias. I really love them because they're very compact, but they give you color and they give you flowers, and they're really neat. By the way, make sure to hit that like button if you were enjoying this video. All right, getting back to the plants. So this is elephant food. I love the prostrate one. Really great for slopes. Very, very low maintenance. By the way, tell me in the comment section what your favorite succulent is. I'm always on the hunt for new succulent ideas. I always want to hear what people love growing, and make sure to mention where you live, where you're growing it, because I always like to know these kind of things for different parts of the country. African aloe, very reliable, great plant for hummingbirds and even bees like the African aloe because of the way the stamens are exposed in it. It's a really really kind of a neat plant. The very reliable, but kind of dangerous, sticks on fire. Definitely don't use that around dogs or kids because that sap is poisonous, but it's very reliable for a front yard and open areas where you have rabbit issues. Yuccas, oh my goodness, I love this plant because hummingbirds love this plant. It's just one of these really cool little plants when it's flowering. The hummingbirds get into all kinds of fights to get around this guy because of the nature of these flowers. Another wonderful Echeveria. Again, Echeverias are great for small, compact gardens. They're also great for containers. The foxtail agave is very reliable here in San Diego. Really tough little plant. Another Echeveria. Oh, they're just so great. But getting back to the foxtail, what's cool about the foxtail, like all agaves, it throws up these monstrous flowers, and this one throws up a flower that, again, blooms for several months. Bees love it. Fabulous one for that. This is another Echeveria, really kind of cool. And so you see there's a lot of different colors and textures in these. Some of these are great for slopes, like this blue chalk sticks is a great ground cover. Gives you some nice texture contrast to other plants. Others are great for containers and small spaces. Again, Echeverias are great for small little spaces, but lots of great colors, textures, some different combinations of plants. There's lots of cool things. The key thing is when you're doing a salvia, when you're doing a succulent garden is, again, make sure that you amend the soil, put down some weed block, and you're going to have some great success with these succulents. And again, depending on where you live, there's better succulents maybe where you live that are more suited for your environment. Check with your local nursery. But again, succulents are a great way to lower the maintenance and lower the work in your garden as we kind of go through all the rest of these cool ones. Some of these, especially this one, the paddle plant is a really cool plant. One of my very favorites. Big flower stalk, but it doesn't die. So even though it throws these flowers up, the plant doesn't die and you can have it. All right, so after you've planted your plant, your wonderful, fabulous plants, what do you do next? Now you need to make some adjustments to the irrigation system. Generally with succulent gardens, you want to do a drip irrigation system. So first thing you got to do when you do that is make sure to change out the valves. So these are drip irrigation valves. They have pressure reducers on them. They have filters on them so that they're better suited for low flow irrigation to succulents. So you run that spaghetti tubing to each individual plant from the main lateral line that comes off of the drip line. So once you've laid all that irrigation out and checked it, make sure you check it that everything's going before you cover it up. And then next, you got to cover it up. So now you want to cover up some nice mulch. Now, most people who do succulent gardens like to do the rock mulch, kind of more of a rocky garden. Lots of different rocks out there. The great thing about rocks is they last a very, very long time. They're very low maintenance. Again, low maintenance is what you're trying to establish. Lots of different color combinations for the rocks out there. The rocks you see right here in this little display, those generally run about $200 to $400 a ton. Now, what does that mean? A ton of this little cobble rock will cover roughly 100 square feet, 2 inches deep. So there you go. $200 to cover 100 square feet. Now, you don't have to use a rock mulch. There is no rule that says you need to. You can use a wood mulch. A wood mulch is going to cost half of what a rock mulch does. Definitely looks different. The nice thing about it is it kind of lowers your expense initially, but with wood mulch, you do have to replace it every 3 or 4 years. It's just going to kind of wear down with the environment. Last, I recommend you throw a little pre-emergent herbicide like this preen on there to kind of help reduce the weeds that pop up through it. It doesn't kill any plants. It just stops weeds from germinating in the garden. Again, to help with some of the maintenance. Finally, after you've done the mulching and the preen and everything else, don't forget to hose it all down. You want to get the dust and the preen off the plants to really make it all look good. Well, there you go. That's how you convert a lawn into a succulent garden, a beautiful one like this one. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get more of my garden videos. Until next time, this is Doug, the 2-Minute Gardener, saying thanks for watching.